Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Dave Wakes Up and Warms Up so he can work all day. Sitting outside again. This morning I'm inking for, well, the plan for today is to ink. For those that don't know, I started as an inker 15 years ago this year. Actually, it was a little more than that because it was like 2008, 2009. Anyway, I digress. So, and I used to be like very slick and everything was tight and smooth. I've had neck surgery since then, and I have some nerve damage in my arms, so in my hands, so not as slick and smooth as I used to be. But that being said, let's talk about inking a little bit. When I was inking full time, I started every day throwing 1,000 lines before I ever touched the page that I was working on. And I would do exercises given to me by the wonderful Jonathan Glopian. If you don't know his work right now, he's got a book out, The Curse of Shirley Johnson, and he's next level. His artwork is above and beyond anything else that's going on. So, yeah, I plan to do a lot of brush work today, so got the brushes out. I'm using a company, they're out of England. They're called Rosemary and Co. This is the Sir 96. I usually use the Shiraza. These brushes are $2-3. Most expensive brushes like $5, and they hold up just as well as a Winsor Newton or a Raphael. In my opinion, they work just as well. Save your money and go there. Check them out. Tell them I sent you. So I would start every day doing warm-ups like this. Put 2 dots down, and then you try to connect them, right? And see, it's early. I'm just getting started, so I'm not hitting the dots clearly. Let's go up here. So, boom. And all this is doing is giving your brain just a light warm up, right? And then as you get more consistent, and again, this drives me nuts, the wobble, because I'm used to throwing. In my mind, I'm still the inker I used to be, even though I know that like I have the nerve damage and things aren't going to work the same way. So it's hard to overcome that because I expect myself to be razor sharp and I'm not. But so I would do this, and I would do like, 20, 30 of these or something like that, maybe 100. It goes quickly, but what happens is as you get warmed up, you get more consistent, right? It also lets you see how the humidity is affecting your brush and how your ink is, is your ink flowing right? All of these things matter, right? See, that one's off. Also doesn't help that I couldn't see it. So I would do a bunch of those. And then I would really start with this, which is thick lines, right? This is just about getting the pressure down without tearing the brush up, but being able to throw, consistent thick lines. And you're really just kind of getting warmed up, getting your hand used to working. And then you would go into, let's go over here, these thick to thins. And you do some big ones, and then you do, you bring it down. And I read somewhere one time, I don't know if this is true or not, but it seems to be. When you're trying to throw straight, if you're going up and down, it seems that you're able to do it better. I don't know if that's true. I've read a lot, I've watched a lot, but see, and I'm also looking out for stuff like this. And I know you can't really see it, but the brush split on that one. So it's letting me know that I need to clean my brush. Right, but I'm just throwing thick to thins, varying out the length, varying out the thickness. And this is something that I'm trying to get into also is, I used to do this when I would do like hatching, but holding your brush with your finger, excuse the paint on my fingers, putting your middle finger on the brush, right? This is a Neil Adams thing that I saw recently that I've been trying to incorporate, because I would do this for like stuff like that, like small hatching, small little stabs, but apparently you're supposed to do it all the time, allegedly. So yeah, I would get warmed up. I've got some junk in my ink. I can see it now. And this is what you're doing. When you're inking, your tools and everything have to be so precise. Even, I know there are guys that just slam stuff down and they're very loose, and I dream to be one of those guys. I tend to focus more on inking than I should. I'll throw entire pages away because, everything's going great, and then I throw a crooked line and it ruins it for me, and I'll start completely over because I'm a lunatic. But yeah, then you're going to start getting into throwing like long lines, right? And none of this really I'm going to move this over for you. None of this is like life or death. And one thing I would say is, when you're warming up, I'm warming up on an actual board, the same board that my page is on, that I'm going to be working on later. Humidity matters. Environment matters. The temperature matters. So your tools need to be acclimated, and you need to be using the tools you're going to be using that day. You need to have everything cleaned up and ready to go. But your warm-up has to be advantageous to what you're going to do that day, right? So I'm not just warming my brain and my hand up, I'm warming the tools up, I'm getting the feel of the paper, and I'm bouncing around. I'm just throwing whatever I want to throw. And see, all of this is terrible, but what will happen is, as you warm up, you'll start seeing things come together. You'll start seeing that, like, these lines that I'm struggling with now will start smoothing out because I'm getting warm. It also gives you a chance to, like, okay, my ink's a little too thick, so I need to adjust and add a little water to it, or I need to let the ink sit for a little while and thicken up. I need to switch inks, many different things. I would recommend anything you're planning on using that day, get it out and warm up with it. Like, I'm struggling this morning. Bad. But what this tells me is I'm the one that's struggling. I'm the problem. It's not my tools. My ink seems to be flowing okay. It could be a little better, but not great. And I may switch out brushes. I'm not loving the feel of this brush, so I might switch back to my Shiraz. But it's letting me know very quickly that I'm having issues today. And I think as artists, when we work professionally and we have deadlines and things, we need to be honest with ourselves about that. Like, I'm the one struggling today. So maybe today's not an inking day. Maybe today is work on some pencils or I see, like, I'm okay with this, but it's still not wonderful. But I'm kind of dialing in a little bit more. And also, when you're doing your warm-ups, play with throwing and pulling. So you hear these terms. Throwing a line is when you're going away from your body. That's throwing a line, okay? Pulling a line is when you're coming to your body, right? And some people pull lines better than they throw. Some people, for me, different lines require different actions. Like a long line, it's always better to throw a long line because you're not hindered by your body, right? You can't, there's no stop point you can go. And again, you're just messing around. Like, I'm staring at the lake, people are walking their dogs, I'm just kind of out here getting warmed up, getting woke up. But I'm making decisions. I'm making decisions for the day. Do I need to go get a nib? Is today a nib day? And it will be because I've got nib work to do later on. I seem to be having more control pulling lines, so looks like I'm going to be doing a little more of that today on important lines. And there's nothing wrong with sculpting your line. What I mean by that is, like, say you need a thick to thin, okay? Or a thin to thick. Let's go thin to thick. But you're not happy with this. There's nothing wrong with coming back in and going, okay, well, I want the line to be this big. So you don't have to get it all in one go. There's nothing wrong with using templates and rulers and whatever it takes to get the job done. That's what matters. Speed is a factor, so you need to be aware of that. If you rule every line, it's going to take you a long time. And so you've got to be aware that it's going to take me longer if I rule everything out, but maybe that's what I need to do. And again, I'm rambling, I know. I'm not really giving a bunch of inking tips because I'm trying to warm up and it's early. But I just wanted to put a video up, say thanks for the support recently. I'm not advertising this. I put a notice out when the videos drop, but that's it. I'm not like trying to push the channel. I would like more comic book fans. I love talking comics. I love comic art. So that's cool, but I'm not like actively trying to build this channel up like I do with my company's channel. So, you know, I appreciate the people that have left comments and, you know, given me ideas as to what they want to see and things like that. It's helpful and it's appreciated. So yeah, that's kind of my morning. Just kind of getting going. I think I'm, you know, Pentel pocket brush. I knew I was low on ink. So let's talk about that real quick. Let me give you a Pentel tip. This video is already 15 minutes, dear Lord. You can refill these, okay? Now, it takes a needle, but grab a needle, you know, I know you just got them laying around. But yeah, you can, now, don't do what I did, because there's going to be air in the bottom, so you want to, starting at the top, but you just kind of want to drip ink in slowly. It's a neat little hack. Sorry for the noise, that's the dumpster getting ready to be dumped. So as you can see, there's, you know, there's now a full thing of ink. Make sure when you do this to clean your needle out so that you can continue to use it. But yeah, you can refill these pocket brushes. I don't know if you knew that or not, but there's a little tip for you starting your day. Put whatever ink in there you want as long as it flows. And you'll, you know, you gotta let it kind of work through the system a little bit, but it will eventually get down to that tip and you'll be back in business. So, and I burned this one out yesterday. But that's cool because it gives me a texture, right? I can use it for that if need be. So always be, and this is a great thing about warming up, is like I was going to grab this and just kind of, you know, see what it had left in it, but now I'm seeing a new texture that I can use for something. That's the point of warm-ups, is playing around. If you don't want to experiment on your page, experiment in your warm-ups. Thank you all so much for sticking around, hanging out, listening to me ramble first thing in the morning. I appreciate it so much, and I will see you guys later.